Okay. GigEm247.com. Taylor Ham here with running backs coach Randy Jordan. Coach, through 3 weeks, your unit's accounted for almost 700 yards rushing. You happy with where your unit is right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, we're not truly happy. Happy is a state of mind. We're pleased in terms of what we're doing in terms of production, and we're real happy that we're 3-0. Yeah. But there's a lot of work we got to do, Taylor. A lot of work. The ball security issues we got to really address in the bye week. We got to clean up our footwork, our course, our landmark. What the fans don't see is that sometimes when your footwork isn't right on a particular run play, you miss that one opportunity where you can take it 80 yards. So there's a lot of things Coach Jordan's going to be working on this bye week.
Great. And you see, obviously, with this team that this offense does not work without a solid running game. Right. And your team won it, your unit won it with those two big touchdown runs by Cyrus and C. Mike. What do you got to do to keep that momentum going, keep the offense rolling? Because your unit's so integral on this, with this offense.
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you ever look at it, really effective offenses, you got to be able to do both. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to throw the football. And I think the one thing we do have is that we have running backs that can run, but they can also catch the football in the passing game, and they can block. For the in the passing game in terms of pass protection. And the way you continue that to continue to get better is that you go out and practice, and I always tell them, bring your lunch pail this week. Yeah. Especially it's a bye week, and you don't have to stress of getting ready for a game, and you get an extra week to prepare. So we're excited to get back on the practice field, because the one thing those guys, my guys, and this staff and the offense is that their thirst for knowledge to get better. They're like, Coach, what new you got for me? Yeah. What new drill? So they're always keeping on my toes, and so this is a good week for us to really get back to the fundamentals so we can get ready for a good Oklahoma State team.
Christian Michael, first 3 games with 100 yards since Dante Hall. And, wow, he's running the ball well. Like you alluded to, he's having troubles holding on to it, ball security. What is it specifically that he's doing that might cause him to be putting the ball on the carpet so many times?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you look at him, he has a running style that is on the border of insane. I mean, and I say that affectionately because you just don't know where he's going to go sometimes, and his ability to spin, and he gets himself in some very awkward positions. So when you do that, you have a tendency to expose the football. And regardless of your running style, you have to hold on to football. It's hard for me to play a running back that's putting it on the carpet, because that's how you lose games. Mm-hmm. And he understands that. And what you do is that you give him all the fundamentals and the techniques to hold on to the football, and you try not to make him a robot. And you try not to talk about it every single day, because it's just like anything else. If someone's an alcoholic, they know they're an alcoholic. You don't have to tell them he's an alcoholic. They know that. And so we try to do the fundamentals of just really holding on to football, everything that takes high and tight, 5 points of pressure, all those things that he knows, and go from there.
With your group doesn't, it doesn't function also without that offensive line. Yeah. What have you seen from the offensive line group so far, and why have you guys struggled maybe running the ball up the middle as much as you guys have?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you look at our offense, offensive line, we're very young. Jimmy Turner's done a great job. Coach Sherman's one of the best in the business in terms of creating opportunities for running backs to run the football, because we all working together in terms of the running game. And you look at Joko, he's a young guy. I mean, he looks like a baby out there in his face. But in his face he does, but in terms of body, he looks like he could be a first-year pro. And you look at, Ike, he's the one that has the most experience on that line. And, Allen, he's kind of a new guy. He's played a little bit last year, but not a whole lot. Mm-hmm. So you got, across the board, you got a lot of young talent. And I say young and talent in the same breath. And when they do gel, because they are still gelling, they're going to be very good, because they're very, very athletic. So I have faith that everything will come around.
and you being an integral part of the special teams as well. And do you mainly work on that punt coverage? Is that what your part? And, they've had a couple of times where Dustin's already taken one of the house, but he's had holes to actually have good positive yardage.
Well, what I do is I work specifically with the kickoff return team, okay. And so in terms of Dustin, I also work a little bit with those guys, but Dustin's a very, very good punt returner, and and Cyrus is a very good kickoff returner, and we're so close. We're so close in the return game in terms of the kickoff return, taking one to the house. We've got a couple guys that single block, and we don't do a very good job. And it's just like an offensive play, kickoff return and punt return. If you don't put a hat on a hat and give those guys a chance to make a play, it's not going to do very well. So it's going to be another week for us to get better in the return game and also in the kicking game also.
Looking ahead to Oklahoma State, what are you guys going to do specifically, your group? Are you going to do anything different to combat, a good Big 12 defense? Well,
I think the biggest thing is we've got to get better. We've got to get better at the little things. We feel like we have a very good offense. We feel like the things we do, tempo, hurry up, mixing it up, a little bit of two back, a little bit one back, throwing the ball down the field. We've got to get better at those type of things. And if we do what we do, we should be okay. But if we don't do what we do, when we put the ball on the carpet 5 times and we throw 4 interceptions, we do those type of things, we couldn't beat Jonesboro Junior High. So we've got to do better in terms of taking care of what we can take care of, and everything will fall in place.
Well, lastly, we'll kind of get into the recruiting part and what you look for from a running back recruiting perspective. When you're out Friday Night Lights, checking out kids, what are you looking for specifically? I
think the first thing is, no matter if it's 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", he's got to be competitive. He's got to be a guy that don't like to lose. And it's a really funny thing. When I look at a back, the one thing I look for is how fast does he get up? Mm-hmm. It may sound crazy, but the ones that are real, real good, they don't stay on the ground real long. If you really watch C-Mike or 32, they don't stay on the ground real long. If they get tackled, they're right up. Sometimes they're in the huddle before the guy that tackled them gets up. And that's one sign to me that they don't like to be on that ground. Mm-hmm. Any running back don't like to be on that ground. I want them. Yeah. And I also look for a guy that can make plays and catch the football. Change of direction is huge for me, being able to get in and out of cuts. And if you're a small guy, you got to be able to make people miss. If you're a big guy, you got to be able to drop a house on them and let them know, hey, you can't just come and tackle me anytime you want to. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the total package for me. Somebody that's going to make plays and somebody that can make your hair on the back of your neck stand up when they get out in the open field.
Great. Well, I thank you for the time, Coach. Stick to GigEm247.com for all your latest Texas A&M news.